I was driving my RV back to the city for work, never expecting a 100°C extreme cold wave to hit. It froze me right on the highway, just when I was in despair. The RV unexpectedly awakened the Doomsday RV System. Who needs to go to work now? I'm going to drive my RV and enjoy the apocalyptic snowscape. And just like that, the Lunar New Year holiday was over. The boss tagged everyone in the group chat. Everyone must be at work on the first day of the year, no leave approved. Whoever dares to be late will be fined 10 times their salary. Looking at the boss's message, I gritted my teeth in anger, but for that meager salary, I could only swallow it down. I asked my dad for the keys to his precious RV because I didn't want to fight for train tickets. As everyone knows, getting a New Year train ticket is as hard as winning a $1 million lottery. My dad's RV had everything I needed to eat and sleep. The cabin was welded airtight, and the body was insulated with 3 layers of rock wool. The roof was covered with solar panels, and it was equipped with a diesel heater and an independent water circulation system. Before I hit the road, my mom packed the RV full of food. Things at the service areas are expensive and a rip-off, she said. Eating our own food is filling and healthy. Mom packed a lot for you, enough to last until you get to the company. At the time, I thought they were overreacting. But what I didn't expect was my mom's actions would turn out to be my saving grace. I had just pulled into a highway service area to rest and eat when the next second, my phone chimed, making me furious. It was the intern. He had just sent a file to the group chat. Our team leader immediately tagged everyone, saying, "Everyone should learn from the intern." Trembling with rage. That was the proposal I stayed up for 3 nights to finish before the holidays. And now, he was taking credit for it. I laughed out of pure anger and tossed my phone onto the passenger seat. Whoever wants this garbage job can have it. I wasn't in a hurry anymore. I decided to sleep at the service area. But right after I turned off the engine, a notification popped up on my phone. Epic cold wave plunging southward rapidly. Initially, I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was just some clickbait account. Clickbait accounts these days love exaggerated headlines. But when I came out of the service area after eating, the sky darkened at a visible speed. Tiny snowflakes turned into a heavy blizzard in the blink of an eye. I quickly ran back to the RV. Locking the door, I turned on the diesel heater. Outside the window, the blizzard had already turned into vertically dropping hailstones. The world became chaotic. Within seconds, my phone signal dropped from full bars to nothing. Right at this moment, I suddenly saw the temperature on the RV screen plummeting. I couldn't believe my eyes as the numbers dropped. It was getting colder by the second. -20 degrees, -35 degrees, -50 degrees, finally stopping at a terrifying -61 degrees. The cold made my scalp tingle. I wrapped all my quilts around me for warmth, leaving only my face exposed, but it still hurt from the freezing air. It felt like my skin would crack if I stretched it. Just as the pain set in, a ding sounded in my mind. Strong survival desire detected from host. RV survival system activated. Starter pack delivered. Resource cabinet issued. As soon as the voice faded, a blue light flashed across a storage cabinet in the RV. System notification. Items placed inside the cabinet will automatically refresh to full capacity, and the quantity will double. I casually grabbed something from my hand and put it inside. I closed it, then opened it. And there was double the amount inside. My eyes lit up. I turned to look at the corner of the cabin. At the pile of food my mom had stuffed in, giant sausages, frozen dumplings, canned yellow peaches, boxes of mineral water. These supplies, originally meant to last a short while, had now become an inexhaustible treasure. But the immediate issue was that it was freezing cold. I quickly found a large empty mineral water jug, braved the severe cold to step outside, and managed to siphon half a jug of diesel from the fuel tank. Back in the RV, my hands and feet were stiff from the cold, but my heart was burning with excitement. I couldn't wait to shove that jug of life-saving diesel into the infinite resource cabinet. I closed it, and when I opened it again, there were 2 full jugs of diesel. I let out a long sigh of relief. With this infinitely refreshing storage cabinet, what did I have to fear from hunger or cold? Originally, to save fuel, I only dared to turn the heater on low. Now, having full confidence, I cranked the RV's electric heater to maximum power without hesitation. The warm air blew steadily, and the temperature inside the cabin slowly began to rise. I rubbed my warming hands, looking at the pile of food again. My mood became unprecedentedly relaxed. Dinner was corn and pork dumplings. Eating hot dumplings, watching old movies. 3 peaceful days passed. I also studied the system panel. It was very simple: infinite resource cabinet and a grayed-out RV upgrades. The RV upgrade column was full of gray icons: thickened insulation layer, bulletproof glass, all-terrain tracks. Every single one required survival points, but where to get the points? The system didn't say. Am I just going to be trapped here? I looked out the window. Between heaven and earth, there was nothing but blinding white. The whole world looked like it had been formatted. But right at this moment, I noticed something strange in the distance. I grabbed my binoculars. At the edge of my vision, there were actually 2 trains parked side by side. The massive bodies of the trains were more than half buried by the heavy snow. Suddenly, a carriage door was pushed open, and several figures stumbled out. My heart skipped a beat. My RV hadn't been upgraded yet. It was just a vulnerable metal box. The people in the snow waded forward like headless FLIs. When one of them fell, he happened to glance in my direction. The next second, those figures immediately changed direction, charging straight towards me. My heart leaped to my throat. I rushed over to double-check that the door was locked tight. Soon, frantic knocking echoed. Is anyone in there? Please, open the door. We're freezing to death. Amidst their pleas, the system's voice rang in my head. Ding. Received begging value from Zhonger 5. Points 5. Zhonger, isn't that my direct supervisor, team leader Zhang? So causing them to have emotional fluctuations grants me points. I pulled open a crack in the curtain. Standing outside were 3 colleagues: the credit-stealing team leader Zhang, the intern, and the hour. They took the train back to the city for work, but due to the sudden extreme cold and blizzard, the train got stuck on the tracks. It was freezing and starving inside, so they had to brave the snow to find food. Unfortunately for them, they stumbled right upon my RV. We mean no harm. We just want to come in and warm up, please. I walked to the window and tapped on the glass. When they saw it was me, they were stunned for a moment, but then quickly put on familiar smiles. Biao. It's you, thank goodness. Quick, open the door and let us in to warm up. I slowly rolled down the window just a crack. A gust of freezing wind instantly poured in, making me shiver. I'm sorry, guys. The fuel and food reserves in my RV are barely enough for one person. If I take you all in, we probably won't even last until rescue comes. Before we all starve, that train looks big and sturdy. Waiting over there is definitely safer than being in here. How could I let them in? My biggest secret, the system, could never be exposed. Team leader Zhang's smile vanished immediately. He pointed at my RV's exhaust pipe and yelled, "That pipe is still blowing hot air. You definitely modified the heating in this thing. I'm telling you right now. If you don't open this door today, you're leaving us to die." A ding sounded in my head. Received anger value from Zhonger, 50. Points plus 50, I smiled. Team leader Zhang, what if you come in and kick me out of my own RV? The HR, who hadn't spoken until now, stepped forward and said seriously, "Biao. The company is temporarily commandeering your RV. As long as you open the door and let everyone in, we'll pay you triple overtime pay." His self-righteous attitude straight up made me laugh. You guys always said the company doesn't encourage overtime. Saying this now, aren't you slapping your own face? As soon as I said that, the world went quiet. Received excitement value from HR, 100. Received despair value from the crowd, plus 150, seeing the points roll in. They furiously pounded on the RV for a long time outside, but with no decent tools on hand, they could only curse and head back. Who would have known? Early the next morning, they returned. This time, their lips were purple from the cold. Looking much more pathetic than yesterday, Zhang rubbed his hands and adopted a negotiating tone. "Biao, look. Let's talk. For the sake of us being acquaintances. Save my life, please. I really can't take it anymore." Saying that, tears actually streamed down his face, seeing his pitiful state. Out of humanitarian concern, I decided to give them something. I opened the window a crack and handed out 2 vacuum-sealed packs of sausages, 8 cans of yellow peaches, and a case of mineral water. Looking at the rich bounty of food in his hands, Zhang's eyes glazed over. He grabbed the food and turned away, but for some reason, I felt that as he was leaving. That fleeting, vicious look in his eyes wasn't right. My intuition was tingling. So I simply spent 50 points in the system to redeem a drone and followed them. The footage the drone sent back sent a chill down my spine. Inside the train carriage, Zhang was holding up the canned peaches and sausages, loudly inciting a crowd of people. "Do you see this? She was willing to give us this much food. There must be tons more supplies in her RV. She can't possibly finish it all by herself. There are crowbars and a fire axe in the train's utility room, right? Once the snow lightens up tomorrow, we all go together, smash open that crappy RV, and everything inside will be ours." Sure enough, by noon the next day, the snow lessened, and they came back. I was watching the live feed from the drone. Good lord, there were a lot of them this time, a mob of over a dozen people, all carrying tools. A bad feeling washed over me. Just to be safe, I glanced at the system panel. 500 points. I was still exactly 200 points short of upgrading to the Polar Fortress mode. Aren't these guys just points delivering themselves to my door? They were probably feeling guilty. Stopping about 10 meters away from the RV, I deliberately pulled open a crack in the curtain, pretending to be terrified, as if I had just been woken up. What do you guys want? My display of weakness gave team leader Zhang a massive boost of confidence. He rested the fire axe on his shoulder. Biao, isn't it a bit late to ask that now? Be smart and open the door yourself. Since we're colleagues, we'll leave you a bite to eat, otherwise, you won't have anything left. Just as he finished speaking, my laughing voice suddenly blared out from the RV's external speakers. Team leader Zhang, yesterday you were wagging your tail begging for food. And today you bring people to rob me, and you, holding that broken axe, trying to act like a robber? If you guys can actually open this door, I'll call you grandpa on the spot. The moment I finished, received anger value from Zhonger, 50. Received anger value from the crowd, 100. Team leader Zhang's face turned green with rage. Don't waste words with her. Bring the locksmith to open the door. I hadn't realized that the unfamiliar guy was actually a locksmith. I thought with the system's blessing, I could sit back and relax, but that locksmith actually had some real skills. He poked around the keyhole with a piece of wire for a few seconds, and the door actually felt like it was loosening. Oh my, Mr. Locksmith, you've got some good skills. It's just that the weather is too cold, and your hands are slowing down. Do you want me to pass you a cup of hot water to warm your hands? Freshly boiled. As soon as I spoke, received excitement value from the locksmith, plus 50. Finally, I had enough for 500 points. So I silently ordered in my head, system, upgrade to Polar Fortress mode immediately. However, to my surprise, the door's lock cylinder made one final, crisp click. The door was actually unlocked. When the locksmith pulled the door open, he froze entirely in place. Right in front of him was another door, a bulletproof glass door gleaming with a cold metallic light. I sat in the driver's seat, looking at the dozen faces outside written with pure shock. I felt so incredibly satisfied. The upgraded Polar Fortress mode from the system was no joke. Team leader Zhang's fire axe was still raised in mid-air. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. I pressed the window button, raising my eyebrows at him through the bulletproof glass. Smash it! Team leader Zhang, let me see if your axe is hard enough. Zhang's face turned pale, then flushed red. He gritted his teeth, swung the axe, and viciously smashed it against the glass door. A massive clang echoed out. As a result, the bulletproof glass door didn't even have a single scratch. Instead, his fire axe had a large chunk chipped right off its blade. Zhang's hands were vibrating so hard he almost dropped the weapon. Is this it, team leader Zhang? Haven't you eaten? He flushed bright red with embarrassment and fury. He turned around and roared at the dumbfounded crowd behind him. What are you all standing around for? Attack it together. The dozen people finally snapped out of their daze. Grabbing crowbars and iron hammers, they started violently bashing my RV with a cacophony of clangs and bangs. As for me, I was sitting safely and comfortably inside, even in the mood to catch up on a novel I had downloaded previously. Meanwhile, on my system panel, points were skyrocketing like crazy. Received anger value from Zhonger, 60. Received excitement value from the locksmith, 40. Received despair value from the crowd, 200. 5 minutes later, the crowd outside was completely exhausted and slumped over. The tools in their hands were either broken or chipped, but my RV didn't even lose a single speck of paint. Zhang collapsed into the snow, his eyes hollow, all his temper gone. I finally turned on the external speaker. My voice clearly transmitting outside. All right, stop wasting your energy. Saying that, I started the engine. The tracks crushed the snow, making a terrifying, ear-piercing crunch. The crowd was so terrified they scrambled backward, stumbling and crawling. I rolled down the window a bit and tossed out a few bags of French fries. Oh, right, Team Leader Zhang, here's your return to work gift. I'm quitting this garbage job. With that, I slammed on the gas. The RV let out a mighty roar, barreling right into the vast blizzard. In the rearview mirror, that group of people stood frozen in place, like a bunch of abandoned statues in the freezing wilderness. After leaving the service area, I set the GPS straight for my hometown. The snow on the road was half a meter thick. The system map showed it was over 200 kilometers from here to the city. Under normal circumstances, it would take about 3 hours. But I didn't expect that under the Polar Fortress mode, my RV's tracks treated the terrain like flat ground. The ice-breaking plow at the front effortlessly carved through the snowpack. My speed actually stabilized at 90 kilometers per hour. Less than half an hour later, a massive, dark cluster of shadows suddenly appeared ahead. I flicked on the high beams, and my scalp went numb instantly. It was a pack of wild dogs, at least 20 of them. Every single one was starved to the bone, their eyes reflecting a terrifying green glow in the headlights. The alpha dog even bared its teeth at my RV. I felt a shiver run down my spine. Under extreme cold weather, these stray animals had gone mad from hunger long ago. They were no longer ordinary animals, but true, savage beasts. They would lunge without hesitation at any living thing they saw. I honked the horn, hoping to scare them off. Who knew these vicious dogs would be provoked instead, growling as they surrounded the vehicle. I immediately locked all doors and windows tight, gripped the steering wheel, and prepared to ram my way through. But right then, the system notification sounded. External biological threat detected. Initiate repellent mode? Initiate. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, 2 rows of sharp metal spikes suddenly popped out from the gaps in the armor plates on both sides of the RV. Simultaneously, the undercarriage sprayed out a colorless gas with an extremely pungent odor. The pack of wild dogs, so fierce just a second ago, reacted instantly upon smelling the gas. It was as if they had met their natural predator, immediately letting out terrified howls. Tucking their tails, they scattered and fled, vanishing into the blizzard in the blink of an eye. I breathed a huge sigh of relief. I genuinely gave the system a thumbs up. Those 500 points were so worth it. After driving for another hour or so, I finally saw the blurred outline of the city. The streets were deathly silent, completely devoid of people. The signboards of all the shops were covered by thick ice and snow. The entire city looked like a frozen tomb. Following my memory of the route, I drove to our self-built family home, but the sight before me made my heart sink. The front door and windows on the first floor were completely sealed shut by snow and solid ice. It looked exactly like a snow grave. I honked the horn desperately, but there was no response from inside. Panic set in. I directly used the RV's ice-breaking plow to smash through the accumulated snow at the door. Rushing into the house, it was only at the basement entrance that I heard my parents' weak cries for help. It turned out they had hidden in the basement to survive the cold. but the snow had blocked the ventilation vents, causing a lack of oxygen in the basement. They didn't even have the strength to climb up anymore. I quickly supported them, bringing them out and onto the RV. The moment they stepped into the cabin, warm air rushed over them. Looking at the soft sofa and complete facilities inside the RV, my mom burst into tears. My dad was also full of lingering fear and utter shock. My sweet daughter, since when did my RV become so incredible? My dad looked at this RV, which was practically a safe house, clicking his tongue in wonder. I closed the heavy RV door, completely isolating us from the blizzard outside. Mom, Dad, we can't stay in the old house anymore. We need to head south. It'll be warmer in the south. On this journey southward, what will be waiting for us?